morning, beautiful people. Welcome to yet another episode of the Younib Breakfast Show with me, Peninah Wachera. I hope you guys have woken up well and are excited to face your day. For me, I'm really excited to bring you even the conversation we're about to have today. Yeah? As it is the norm here at the Younib Breakfast Show, let's go straight to the morning bite of the day. In a world that glorifies hustle and productivity, how do we stay mentally healthy without burning out? Is discipline the key to a better mind, or can it sometimes do more harm than good? Whether you are trying to build better habits, break free from toxic routines, or simply survive one day at a time, this conversation is for you. So stay tuned, share your thoughts, and let's explore how we can create balance between mental wellness and self-discipline. Remember, this show is proudly brought to you by Miss Ashan and Younib organization, and we're trying to reach out to the community to teach you on matters mental health. So if you need any psychological help, you can always call the number 0700-352-250, and our very own psychologist will be able to help you out. Remember, you can also interact with us, suggest your conversations, talk to us through our social media platforms, Younib_TV on Instagram, Younib Media TV on Facebook, and there's a number on your screen. You can SMS or WhatsApp 0719-144-144. Allow me to introduce to you the guest of the day, who are familiar faces that you are used to. If you have called the number, definitely you've maybe talked to one of them, yeah? And without further ado, help me welcome our psychologist. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you guys feeling today?
I'm feeling good, very excited to be here. Congratulations we're about to have. How are you doing?
I'm also doing good. Thanks for asking. Yes, how is your morning?
My morning is good so far. I'm excited to be here as well.
Okay, so as it is the norm, you're already used to it. You'll definitely have to introduce yourselves and tell us what you do here, so that for the people who are just maybe watching us for the first time, they can know who you are, what you do, and why are you guys here, yeah? So tuanze kwako. Mutembei alianza kwa salamu. Tuanze kwako.
Alright, thank you for this opportunity. My name is Beulah Njagi. I am a psychologist or a mental health facilitator. I'm an associate of Psychosocial Support Center, that's PSC for short, and we have been so privileged to be working with Younib organization to be bringing all this to you, as well as the community interventions that we've been a part of, and the important conversations that we get to have here with you.
Yeah. Okay, welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. My name is Muthami. I'm also an associate of Psychosocial Support Center, that's PSC. I'm a psychologist by profession, and I'm very excited because in partnership with Younib organization, they're able to share skills as well as come to you within the grounds to talk to you about mental health, listen to what you have to say about life, and really create an open space for you to express yourself and talk about the conversations that actually matter, like the one we're about to have today.
Okay, so today's conversation, I've just realized I talked too much when we were starting and didn't even say the topic of the day, yeah? So today's topic is discipline and mental health, yeah? So now I think it will make sense. Whatever I was saying as I started all makes sense now once you have known today's conversation, yeah? So again, today we're having a conversation on discipline and mental health, and mostly discipline. I think it's a word that we've had since we were kids. Always been told discipline is the key to success. When you're disciplined, everything will always align. And it's actually good to also see the side of discipline and mental health, yeah? So I'd like to just know, what is the relationship between discipline and mental health today?
Okay. In very few words, I would say what I would describe discipline as is not physically you sitting still and looking good in a social setting, but also your ability to follow through with your deadlines, your ability to allocate time for tasks and actually follow through with them, and generally taking care of everything that you're supposed to take care of in a very balanced way. And sometimes it feels like you have to be on your best behavior, you always have to be on your best game at any single point. But discipline is also knowing when to take a step back, when to slow down, and knowing that you also need to take care of yourself, because you're not a machine at the end of the day. Hata gari huzimwa unatumia kidogo. So sometimes just relate between discipline and mental health is to make sure that not just attaining everything that is around you, but also making sure that you're also looking at whatever it is that may be going down deep inside.
Okay, interesting. Now that we've understood now discipline and how it relates with mental health, yeah, I'd like to know, Beulah, can being too disciplined, as Mutembei said, sometimes somebody can be too disciplined, yeah, really discipline negatively affect an individual or also the mental health of an individual?
Right. So, for the purpose of this question, I'll change the word discipline to rigid, because we don't want to imply then people will go away saying, they said don't be disciplined.
Yeah.
But what Mutembei has talked about actually clearly showed that within discipline there's also flexibility.
Yeah.
But once we get too rigid, too stuck on, one way of doing things, one idea, one right way of everything, then that can actually potentially impact our mental health negatively. Again, because we are, as Mutembei said, we're not machines. And even as the days come, we're always constantly changing and growing. And so we need to leave room for flexibility for that growth to happen. Otherwise, if we're too rigid and stuck in one way, then we might break at some point. There's this proverb, is it a proverb or a saying? Anyway, it's the tree that bends that tends to survive winter. The one that's too firm might actually get broken, when the winds are too strong. So there needs to be that room for flexibility if we are actually to survive the ups and downs of life.
Okay, interesting. I love the fact that you've brought another terminology to this conversation, yeah? Mutembei, how does lack of discipline really contribute to anxiety or depression?
Okay, with lack of discipline, just as we are glamorizing it, it gets to a point where you don't really have a solid plan. That means every single day, every single hour that you have is free for all. So what this brings about is that lack of structure, that lack of routine makes you question what you want in life. What goals are you working toward? In the event that you don't have a plan and then somebody comes in and asks you to do something, you just wake up and leave. What this does is that it takes away from your identity. You're not able to fully sustain yourself as an individual because you don't have a plan, you don't have goals, you don't have timelines. So because of that, you're not able to plan for your sleep, you're not able to plan for your meals, you're not able to plan for time for socializing, or you're not planning on time for actual work. So we find that there's no structure, and that also builds about poor self-care routines, which also impacts your mental health.
Okay, interesting. I see kama tumeenda sana to the negative side. So I'd like also to know, can discipline be positively or be of positive influence to mental health?
Absolutely. When we talk about structure, I think every time I hear something about structure has to come up.
Yeah.
And structure, falls under discipline. Whereby you're able to have a plan of things, yeah? When you're disciplined, you're able to know where you're going, when you're going, why you're going, and that gives purpose to life. So you're not just, going with whatever comes at you. You actually have a plan for things. That helps to mitigate anxiety because you know what is next, or what to look forward to, or what's on a plan, yeah? As Mutembei has said, when there's lack of discipline, it means your self-care probably does not even exist, because that's something that also requires discipline. So when there's discipline, we're able to better take care of ourselves, which means you have the discipline to eat the right things, you have the discipline to move your body through exercise, you have the discipline to skip, that series until 3 a.m. and actually be like, no, my bedtime, if it's 11, it's 11, and we leave it at that episode for share, You also have the discipline to know I need to journal, I need to do ABCD. You have the discipline to know I need to do my work, I need to do my school, I need to do, whatever responsibilities that you have. So that at the end of the day, it's not that you have done everything that your feelings have told you to do. Your boss is on your neck, your school is on your neck, your family is on your neck, and then now we're developing mental health problems. So it helps create that balance when as life happens.
Okay, interesting. I hope you are taking notes and you are getting to learn more about this conversation. Remember, you can always interact with us through our social media platform, Younib_TV on Instagram, Younib Media TV on Facebook, and there's a number on your screen. You can SMS or WhatsApp 0719 144 144. Remember, if you need any psychological help, you can always call the number 0700 352 250, and our very own psychologist will be able to help you out here. So before we take the break, you already know that we usually have the question of the day. And today's question of the day is, what's one daily routine or habit that keeps your mind in check? I'll repeat it. What's one daily routine or habit that keeps your mind in check? Please let us know through the socials that I just mentioned, and we'll be back after this break with your feedback. Welcome back. This is still the Younib Breakfast Show with me, Peninah Wachera. I hope so far you've been able to actually learn something about the conversation of the day, which is discipline and mental health. Yeah, as I promised, after the break, I'll be sampling your feedback. But before I do that, remember this show is probably brought to you by Miss Yo Ashen and Younib Organization, and we're trying to reach out to the community to teach you on matters mental health. So if you need any psychological help, you can always call the number 0700 352 250, and our very own psychologist will be able to help you out here. Now to your feedback. So the question of the day today was, what's one daily routine or habit that keeps your mind in check? And here are your feedback. Someone says, morning walks while listening to worship music. It sets the tone for my whole day. Someone else says, journaling every night helps me process my emotions and sleep better. Someone else says, drinking water and making my bed first thing in the morning sounds small, but it gives me structure. Someone else says, I try to do 10 minutes of deep breathing or meditation, especially when I feel overwhelmed. And I'll sample the last two. I plan my day the night before. It reduces mental chaos in the morning. Someone else says, I have a strict no phone rule for the first 30 minutes after I wake up. It helps me reduce my anxiety a lot. Thank you so much for your feedback, and honestly, I have so many feedback that I can be able to read, but because of time, please allow me to stop there, yeah? And I just can't go to the next question without actually asking you guys the question of the day. So who feels to start? Atuambia, what is that routine or habit that you usually do that keeps you in check or your mind in check? Nani ataanza?
Okay. Well, I'll go first. I'm really happy for the feedback that we've got, because this shows that you don't have a specific route to follow in terms of achieving discipline. Sometimes you can do this, sometimes you can do that, but it's the consistency that actually matters. And now on to the question.
I feel like I relate to some of the responses given, because I also try my best not to use my phone for the first 1 hour of waking up. This means that I'll get up, I'll get to think about what I'm supposed to do for the day, and then when I'm actually in commute, by the time my hour is already done, once I'm able to check my phone, maybe I got a text from my colleagues or my employer, maybe I have a friend who was in a crisis or just anything, I'm more settled, I'm more calm, and I'm able to have the discipline or the courage or whatever it is, the confidence to actually address that, whatever it is that could have been triggering. If I had just woken up just to figure out that my boss wants me at the office at 10, nimeanza kujiuliza what is happening, and then ni makosa tulifanya. But now once you're able to think about, okay, I'm supposed to do this and this and this for today, even when you see such a triggering text from whoever it is that maybe you'll be like, oh, maybe they want to discuss something that we had actually planned to do this, as opposed to looking at it and then getting triggered, and then now your whole day is spent anxious.
Awesome. Beulah.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
I think I'll give two. You let me one that's in the works and one that we're trying to adopt, because I am trying to adopt because again, just to show that it's always a growing journey, right? So what helps me is, I like the person who said journaling. I think sometimes I feel too tired to write things down. So I usually verbally journal through prayer. So it's the first thing I'll do when I open my eyes, even before I get out of bed. So the last thing I'll do before I shut my eyes and just be like, wow, what kind of day has it been? And kind of just process it that way. What I am trying to get a habit of would be to not touch my phone before bed, at least an hour. Yeah, so I notice that I don't respond to texts or calls past a certain time, so I'd like for it to be actually no screen time past a certain time. Yeah.
It's interesting that actually we've seen that there's also progress, Like discipline doesn't have to just be like you wake up early in the morning and tell yourself, today I am starting this and we have to do this every single time. Sometimes there are those days that you'll be like, man, it's not the same. But there are those days that you'll be like, I'm proud of myself because I'm doing what I've always done. And I feel like that is a real definition, a physical, one relatable definition of discipline, Just putting yourself accountable for always doing the same thing, even though there's the one that one day that you may sleep and be like, hey man, that day it was not a good day, but at least you still continue, at least you don't give up, So thank you so much for your feedback, and thank you for making us also understand the process, actually, that it doesn't have to be something that you already do, because some people may say it and it seems like, hey man, then me, I have a problem. If I don't have a routine, if I don't have a habit that keeps me on check, then I have a problem. But again, everyone can start. You can start now, you can start today, you can start tomorrow. Okay, let's do it today, not tomorrow. Today is better, So we can try. If you don't have a habit, if you don't have any routine, try and start incorporating something that works for you, and then after that you can see discipline coming in from there. So we have actually tackled one of the ways to grow discipline. So I'll just ask you to continue this conversation on discipline. How can I be able to improve my discipline and make myself have the positive discipline? Because now you mentioned there's negative, but now we want the positive discipline.
Right.
Yeah.
So may I start with how many of us go wrong?
Yeah, it's okay.
I think sometimes when we think about discipline, as you say, Namkaleo, and then today I'll do everything right. So you set your standards all the way over there, from diet to exercise to everything all at once, and you're supposed to do this change now in an instant. And the moment you falter at one, even doing Mendanga, Amaleo was believe by tomorrow, nothing. So how to build that discipline? We start small. I like the person who was giving the reason, was saying it sounds like a small thing, but for them it's actually what helps to ground them and structure them. And that's how our brains are. They just need, like a small bit of consistency. So if your goals are to work on exercising, to work on your diet, to work on your sleep, let's start with those three. Let's not, put pressure on ourselves for all the three to be perfect all at once. We can pick one we start with. We say, okay, diet. Okay, what can I do about that? I can increase say migraines. So I'm not taking out everything all at once. If I'm used to fries 5 times a week, I can say, okay, 22 basi 3, and gradually build that muscle of whatever it is that we're trying to practice. So start small. Small changes actually lead up to big changes. Be realistic in the goals that you're setting so that you don't put so much expectation on yourself and then you disappoint yourself, and then now you become afraid to even try again, and you sink now even lower into the bad habits, or into the depression, or into the anxiety, or the negative self-talk cycle. So in a nutshell, start small. Pick one small thing to try and practice that until it's become habitual, then pick the next small thing to try.
Okay, awesome. I like the fact that you have explained to us like children, and that I hope also us at home we're getting to see the importance of actually taking a step at a time. I think that's the best word to use. Taking a step at a time to be able to help you nurture a good habit or a routine. So Mutembei, we've gotten to understand like everyone, this is what we can be able to use when it comes to trying to foster or build discipline. Now, if somebody is struggling with mental health, how can they be able to start now building discipline for themselves?
Okay, that's interesting. I'm going to emphasize. I'm not going to. Okay, with people who are struggling with mental health, more often than not, you find that looking at discipline, they're going to look at it as a really complex ideology. You feel like it's simply as what most of us usually do. We look at the guy with the perfect body, the perfect routine, the perfect diet, and then we package that and then tell ourselves that this is the expectations. But something I really like to encourage is to pick one simple routine in the morning, or one simple habit that also is very much or closely related to another task. So maybe you can take an example with a viewer who said that the first thing that they do in the morning is that they wake up and they drink a glass of water. Just to break it down, let's say if we're being honest, you wake up in the morning and you drink a glass of water, that cold refreshing drink is going to trigger your bowel movements. So what you're going to do, you're going to drink your glass of water, akili yako inakuwa tricked, you have to go use the washroom. When you're in the washroom, once you're leaving the washroom, you wash your hands, you clean your face, then that triggers you to brush your teeth. So now you've drunk your water, you've hydrated, you've had your morning routine in the washroom, and then now your mouth is clean, you're feeling awake, but then now it triggers you to actually realize that, I need to clean my body. So then since you're already at the washroom and you're at the sink area, you get into the shower, you take your shower, and then once you're going back to the bed, now you're clean, your teeth you've brushed your teeth, so now you can go back into the bed because also unaenda kufanya nini kwa kitanda. So you clean the bed, and then without realizing it, you find that you've actually achieved so much simply because one single habit also related to another one that led to another one, and then becomes a whole routine. So now even if you're feeling very low or you're feeling very defeated, you've accustomed your brain and your biological clocks to wake up at a certain time during in the morning, drink your water, have a routine that actually flows without you having to think about it, because these are very small and meaningful tasks that at the end of it all becomes a whole routine, but we only broke down into I do this, then this happens, then that follows.
Okay, interesting. So Beulah, are there any specific habits or structures that promote both discipline and emotional resilience?
Okay, that's an interesting question. I think I'll answer it with a bit of bias. And I'll say this because I will answer it with the first line of defense I like to give my clients. Whenever you come and see me, the first thing I'll ask is, how are you sleeping? Is there a structure going on in there? Personally, I feel like that's usually the first way to build discipline. If you can get yourself to bed at the same time or around the same time every day, and wake up at around the same time every day, even if you're not going to work. There's a lecturer of ours who used to tell us, even if it's a day umepanga leo nalala nafanya nothing, I'm just going to be a hot potato in bed. wake up. If you say you always wake up at 6, wake up at that 6 a.m., go drink a glass of water, go to the washroom, come back to bed, but your body has clocked that you have woken up at the same time that you usually do, right? So that routine for sleep, for me, I find it's the best way to actually begin that discipline and keep it going. Again, because the benefits of sleep cut across your body to your emotions, right? But when you're talking about emotional resilience, the only way we can build that is we actually know what is going on with our emotions. So what habit can you form around that? It could be journaling, like, we've had someone talk about journaling. It could be like the one I shared, prayer. It could be sometimes talking to or having an accountability person where, at lunchtime, tunapigiana, so how was your morning? And we just get to process. It could be regular check-ins, perhaps is like an alarm on your phone every hour to ask, how am I doing inside? Because the moment you're able to check in and, be able to account different feelings to different events, then the more you're able to be resilient, to be able to know how to manage, how to control, and that's what we call the resilience. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And I hope we are taking notes. Again, it's very important once you're watching Younib Breakfast Show, it's good to always have a notebook and a pen, or actually your phone, kwa notebook portion, the app for notebook here, to be able to take notes, because these things are always important. Whatever we talk are important things that can be able to make your life better. Yeah, so it's really, really important for you to always make sure you are seated comfortable taking notes, so that you can be able to get to adapt new routines, new habits that will make you a better person. Yeah, so as we think about that, and as we think about what Beulah has told us, yeah, I want us to take a short break, and we'll be back with more conversations about this topic. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is still the Younib Breakfast Show with me, Peninah, Wachera, and my lovely therapist over here, who are here to give us information about discipline and mental health. Remember, this show is proudly brought to you by Miss You Ashan and Younib Organization, and we're trying to reach out to the community to teach you on matters mental health. So if you need any psychological help, you can always call the number 0700-352-250, and our very own psychologist will be able to help you out. Remember, if you want to interact with us, ask us questions, suggest topics, you can always do that through our social media platform, Younib_TV on Instagram, Younib Media TV on Facebook, and there's a number on your screen. You can SMS or WhatsApp 0719-144-144. Anytime we say about discipline, or we hear the word discipline, we're always reminded when we were small, we had parents, we had teachers who were always trying to instill discipline, yeah? And most of us, it was done through being beaten, being caned, and very different ways according to what now the parents are doing right now, or maybe what we are hearing from. Because even in the TV, you're hearing somebody being told that you've done a mistake, you get a time out. Yeah, for us, that seems like, what are you even saying? You have to beat the child, you have to discipline the child. They use that. You have to discipline the child so that they can be disciplined. So why am I starting there? Because my next question is about parents. It's about teachers. How can they be able to instill discipline to children and also look at their mental health?
I'll start off by saying that people usually parent the way that they were parented. So you'll find that maybe if your parent was too strict, you might have taken that strictness and attributed it to the success that you have in life. So you're going to be a strict parent. Sometimes your parents were too strict that made you feel resentment towards them. So you promised yourself that I am going to be lenient towards my children. But as parents, it's for you to ask yourselves, what nature of my parenting style can be attributed to the success of my children? Is it me being strict to the children who actually feel like huyu lazima asukumwe kidogo, or is it giving autonomy to the children for them to actually learn? Is giving the children autonomy for them to discover things on their own? But what really matters is you need to take into account that they are also individuals, but they are also individuals who have not had the experience that you have had in life. So in as much as, yes, you want to be a strict parent, you want to be a lenient parent, it's also for you to incorporate communication into the parenting structure. Because if I tell you to go out on timeout and I don't tell you why you're on timeout, does it make sense? Was the lesson learned? If I decide to cane you because I was also feeling very emotional or heated in the moment, and then I get to explain to you why I beat you up or why I caned you kidogo, are you able to explain? Are you able to understand? Is there a mutual understanding? Because if it's one-sided, then brings about the times of my parents anashindanga tu akiniambia niende time out kwa sababu hataki kuspend time na mimi, or my parents are way too lenient, are very accommodating of my who I am as a person because they just don't care, you know. So it's a really delicate balance of communication and actually meaning whatever it is that you actually show up for.
Interesting. So if you're a parent out there, if you're a teacher, at least I hope you've taken notes here so that you can be able to make the children actually understand. Yeah, I love the fact that you've brought in balance, because my next question is all about balance. Yeah, so how can I be able to balance giving myself grace and also discipline?
We need to realize that giving ourselves grace is not indiscipline, and it's not, the grace is not to do bad manners, if I can call it better terminology. The grace is not to misbehave. So it's not saying I'm giving myself grace, so this entire week I will sleep at 3 a.m. watching my favorite series because I'm giving myself grace. I will eat, all the sugary, all the fatty things because I'm giving myself grace. I'll talk to all my friends the way I feel like because I'm giving myself grace, right? Yeah. It's not permission to misbehave. Grace simply means that if I am not at the capacity to do that which I consistently do every day, then I will not beat myself up for it, right? So I will meet myself where I am at. That's what grace means. So if today my energy is very low, grace might look like I'll wake up, drink that water, maybe go back to bed, or maybe leave that bed and meet because I needed to be at work, and that whole time for getting myself together and make the bed, and I just didn't have the bitches for it. Grace means maybe, again with the exercise schedule, maybe today my body just cannot, and so I'll give myself grace to rest it, in whatever way is productive. Perhaps it looks like maybe grace is setting boundaries around certain, friend groups or spaces that drain you more, right? So grace is not leeway to undo all the work that you have been doing by discipline. It's simply meaning making that discipline practical to the reality that you're at today. And sometimes it means really asking yourself the tough questions. Is it just that I don't want to, or is it that I actually am unable to today? So that we are able to know, where do I meet myself? Because grace can look like, less is key, but I know I have to because that's what I need. Yeah, that is what is better for me. So grace is simply looking out for yourself and doing that which grows you, that which is in the best interest of you at that moment.
Awesome. I can't add anything there, but I hope we've just taken the words from her and we get to extend to ourselves grace. Yeah. So Mutembei, we have been talking about mental illnesses, different mental illnesses. Yeah. So do you think that there is always pressure for somebody with mental illness to actually be able to be disciplined?
Okay, this is tied down to stigma because as a society sometimes we view mental illness as you do not take care of yourself, and that is why we are here. So there's also pressure to act a certain way because you're in certain levels in society. So most often than not tutapata mtu atakuja akwambia if you just try harder and get that routine, imagine everything is going to be okay. But we also need to understand that with mental illnesses, it's not that simply because you don't want to, just as Beulah has said. Sometimes you'll find that you don't even have the skills to recognize that you're in a very difficult space because it didn't take you a day or a minute to actually get into that pit. I'm just gonna say pit, into that dark place. The thing is, other people might not see it, or sometimes they just might not want to have it because they have their things together, so they also naturally assume that you should also have your things together. This might come from friends, this might come from teachers, your parents, your siblings, or even your partner, because they just don't also understand. So this also, in as much as we want to refrain from stigmatizing this or looking at it as not a failure on the person who is facing mental health, they also need to also address the issue that we also need to communicate about wherever it is that we are. If you feel that you're in a very difficult place, it's okay to communicate so that all your expectations, the ones that you have for yourselves, are not way too low for the people around you, and that the expectations that they have of you are not way too high to the point where even the little that you're doing, you feel like it's not even worth it, so you don't even do it. So it's a lot of communication, it's a lot of let me meet you where you are, but also please, if you feel like you can lift me up, I'm also going to give you the grace and the opportunity for you to be able, or for you to try and get me out of there. So we also circle it back to the grace and communication.
Okay, awesome. I like that. Yeah. Because of time, allow me to just take your parting shots. Yeah. Tuanze kwako, what is the parting shot for this conversation?
I think I'll say let's remember that it's in the small things. It may sound like a lot, and I know sometimes hearing conversations like this, you get a mental picture of exactly what you want your life to look at and feel the pressure to actually do it all at once. So let's remember that it's the daily small steps that we take that make a big change at the end of the day. Yeah.
I'd like to say that procrastination is majorly the main reason why we're not disciplined, because we say, I'll try tomorrow, I'll try next month, I'll try the next hour. But if you actually use our favorite tagline from our favorite brands and you just do it, you'll find that getting there will start to put the ball into motion.
Okay, so we just start now. Yeah, okay. Thank you so much for coming and helping us be able to learn more about discipline. I think we've also seen discipline in another light, because you see, most times when you think about discipline, most people you just think about because I insult people, now I'm in discipline. Because I am not doing things according to what our school is doing, I am in discipline. But having this tape or this side of conversation makes us also be able to sit down and reflect about our lives and see whether we are in the right path as individuals, yeah? Not as what society brings, not as what other people say, but as we ourselves want for ourselves. So asanteni sana for coming. It's always a pleasure having you guys here as usual. And as usual, I hope you'll be back soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
And to everyone who has made this show a success, thank you so much, Elias Mushina, for being our camera person and also our director. Asante sana for the good work. Thank you so much, Dennis, for being our timekeeper. Asante sana for the work you've done here. And to your viewers, thank you for always making sure that you are tuned in to Younib Breakfast Show to get to learn more about things that will be able to make your life better. Yeah. So until next time, do have yourselves a beautiful day ahead. And today, let us go reflecting and try to also start one habit that can be able to make us stay in check. Yeah. Until next time, do have yourselves a beautiful day ahead. Goodbye.